Happy Saturday. What's going on, everybody, from all over the beautiful wide world web? I hope you're doing well wherever you're at today. And as we start off every week, I want to know where you guys watching from today. I'm here in Orlando, obviously. It's kind of my thing is Orlando. And I just wanted to hear kind of where you guys are watching from today. I've got already people kind of checking in. Isaiah said he's moved to Kissimmee in January. He loves it. That's so awesome. Let's see. Get a couple more people in here. There we go. Athens, Alabama. Hey, what's going on? Hey, Ale, good to see you. Hey, Ken. Oh, awesome. Already getting questions coming in, which is cool. Appreciate it. What's going on from Seattle? It is probably rainy. You know what? Seattle, I think I always think to myself, Seattle's probably really cool to see the rain all of the time, but like that would probably dig on me after a while. You know where it's really, really nice today is Orlando. It's in that perfect time of the season where it's sunny every single day. I freaking love it. What's up, Big Orange from Illinois? Good to see you. Minneola. Hey, Millennia area. What's going on? Same, very cool. Spencer, what's going on? Good to see you. Hola. Miami, Disney Adventure Home. Good to see you. I appreciate you checking in. Let's get a few more people here today. San Diego, California. A lot of people moving from San Diego to the Orlando area, which is cool. Andrew from Chesapeake Bay and Christopher from Utah. So what's going on, everybody? Good to see you. So today I've got a bunch of stuff to cover. We're going to talk about jobs and we're going to talk about rental rates. We're going to dive into the real estate market, which is starting to see some changes, which I think is all very positive. We'll talk about some new developments that we're seeing, some local theme park stuff. But as always, this show is about you. And especially for those of you guys watching live, you get to ask the questions and kind of take the direction of the show. And that's kind of what we're here to do, is to try to figure out a way I can get in front of as many people as possible and answer the questions that you guys have that are important to you. So I'll kind of bring in some of the news that I think is relevant based on where we're at as a city and as an area. And then we'll kind of go from there. So what's up, Travis? I hope you're ready to golf this coming week. I am ready to golf. I tried to get out today, but they were having like some event and the course was shut down, which is kind of a bummer. Jay says he lived in England, dark clouds and drizzle all day. Yeah, that would kind of wear on you. That would kind of wear on you. What's going on from down the street in Windermere? Good to see you. All right, so let's talk a little bit about first off this crazy sale that happened this week. So 1297 Grand Traverse Parkway in Reunion. This is a record for the Reunion Resort. This property was almost 20,000 square feet. Listed in 2017 built in 2017. It was listed for $12 million. And let's look at some of the photos. Kind of insane. As I was going through some of this, I mean, look at the pool decks. There's 1, 2 down here. It's not just for you and your family. It's for you and your family and all of your cousins and their kids and their kids' friends. Look at this. I counted this right here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28 people hanging out in the dining room. Why not? Yeah, it feels like a hotel. I mean, like this massive, wait till you see the prep kitchen on this house. Hold on. Let me show you this real quick. The prep kitchen here is quite insane. Little cigar lounge, indoor basketball. Bricks and Saber says it's mine. Oh, good for you, man. That's awesome. Congrats on the new sale. Look at this spa inside the place. Oh, here, look at this. This is the prep kitchen. That is insane. I mean, stainless steel throughout, double hood, 12 burners. I mean, walk-in refrigerator. This thing was prepped for whoever wanted to run just a massive party event at any given time. You've got the sun deck up top here. Yeah, I've not seen anything like this in Orlando. And I actually put a video out just this past week where I was talking about sort of like the higher end houses here locally and where some of the more like $1 million plus homes were concentrated. And everybody knows like Windermere, Winter Park, that's kind of where the majority of the houses that are selling in those really high end places are. But the third one on the list was Reunion, Florida, which this is where this house is. And so, not shocking, but the place with the most concentration of pending sales over $1 million was Reunion. And I had a lot of people comment down below that, like, well, yeah, that's because you have a lot of people that are buying from overseas and they're parking money here. But I mean, that's definitely part of the case. But there's a lot of folks that are just buying second homes. They live in New York, they live in LA, live in Miami, and they're buying second homes here. So not just the place for people overseas to park their money. But look at this. I mean, quite wild. Oh, here's one thing I thought was very interesting about this house was that if you look at it, it's in Reunion. If you don't know the neighborhood, usually either back to another house or the golf course, and then some areas you back up to conservation. And this one backs up to conservation, but I just kind of thought for that price point, maybe it would back up to something else. But here we go, backs up to conservation. What do you guys think? Um, oh man, yeah, you could run a serious Airbnb out of this place. Oh man, Dave says close mid-April in Khoff. Congratulations, man, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, corporate clients. I think so as well. I think you could definitely run a corporate event here, and it would be pretty fantastic. Man, lots of questions today already, which I freaking love. Make sure you start chatting in there. I'll make sure I go back up and get as many questions as possible answered, but I'll get into some of those right now. So Charles asks, what are my thoughts on Island Village? They still aren't selling those bigger houses and lots that they advertise, it seems. Do they work with realtors again? So they're starting to work with realtors on all of their spec homes. So like if you come in and buy a home that's already started, they'll work with agents now. But they have not started building those or selling those estate size lots. And they're actually, I've heard multiple stories on which way they're going to go with that. If they actually are going to do the larger estate size houses, it's probably going to be in the next couple phases, because where it's currently sitting, they don't have the size for those, like the larger lots, like you would see up and down like East Lawn, those larger estate kind of houses in Main Celebration. So yeah, I think that eventually we're going to see that change, but not as of right now. What's going on, Annette from Denmark? That's so awesome. Thanks for checking in. Patricia, I am going to New York next in 2 weeks, and I'm running a half marathon there, Lord willing. Hopefully my legs hold out. And I'm nervous about how cold it is. I'm like, I have not run in the cold like that, 43 degrees anyway. So I'm going to have to get all super warm. He said that it says the prep kitchen is bigger than his entire house. I agree. It was pretty insane. Yeah, Jay. So Jay asks, am I going to talk about the $25 million in inventory in Orlando? It's actually Florida. So when I look at here, I'll even do this with you guys live. Why not? Why not? I think it's relevant. So we should probably figure it out. Let's see. So I can go on here. I can search for more agent, office name, below. Go office ID. Here we go. Hopefully this isn't too niche for some of you guys watching. But for those of you who don't know, that Zillow used to be an iBuyer, and iBuyer basically means that they would come to you and say, "Hey, we'll give you cash for your house. We'll close in whenever you want." And a lot of times they were either paying way under originally, like 2 years ago. Your house was worth 500,000. They would pay you 450. And still charge you a commission, but you got a quick check. Then the market started heating up, and if your house was worth 500, they started paying like 525, still charging you a commission, but like giving you more. Well, the market, you can only buy over market for so long and still sell at market value before you start losing. So they lost like almost $1 billion, and they stopped buying houses. And now you look at like Open Door and OfferPad, their revenue is diving right now. They had actually massive top line revenue in terms of home sales, but their net losses over the past couple quarters have been in the tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. So I think the iBuyer thing, while it probably will always be here in one way or the other, it's slowing down a little bit. So let's see, I'll go back just to show you guys what I'm doing. So just looking in Oak, Osceola, Seminole, Lake, and that's what I consider Orlando, those 5. And then I can go in here and say, okay, what are the listing agents, listing offices? Oops, there we go, listing office. They currently have 4 houses for sale in all of Orlando. right here, 4. Pending, they have 52. So Jay, going back to your question, they have 52 pending. So they had a ton that they were listing. 48 of them are sold already. And like actually I've sold in my video about Zillow last time, I said I think they're going to probably list a house a day until all of their inventory is gone. And so that kind of holds up true. They've got 4 houses on the market. 50 of them are currently pending, getting ready to close. Some part of the stage of the process. So again, I don't think that we're going to see some massive decrease in pricing due to like a flood of them. And they're almost out of houses anyway. So we shall see. One of the things I don't like about iBuyers, I'll tell you why. I go up against them all the time on listings, and sometimes they win like 10% of the time. 90% of the time, the seller decides to list with us instead. The problem I don't like about a lot of these iBuyers isn't because they're a competition. I think that they do fit a need in the market for some people that need money immediately. They don't want to go on the open market. Maybe it's a probate or a divorce or just something where they don't want to list and get top dollar. The problem is they're selling a lot of these houses to hedge funds that are then turning them into rentals, which then takes housing out of the market for you and I to potentially buy. And I just think that's a bad thing. The more that Wall Street gets into institutionalizing residential real estate, the harder it is on the average American to then purchase a house. So that's why I'm not a huge fan. But again, capitalism, right? It's just part of life, part of who we are. Desi asks, question, if a home builder, Madame Dreamfinder, says that they have to jack up the price because of materials, does the home buyer have the right to a full breakdown of those costs? Yeah, they should. If you say, especially if you have in writing, some of these builders will write in that they have a certain percentage of cost overruns before they have to start charging you for it. Unfortunately, I had a buyer of mine that they signed a contract a year ago. The builder, which was Dreamfinders, took a really, really long time to finally pull the trigger and build the house. They had permitting issues and supply issues, but by the time they finally started building the place, material costs had gone up, and they said they're basically offering the buyer, hey, if you want to move forward, it's going to be an extra $30,000. If not, we will give you your deposit back and cut up the contract. We will end up relisting it and probably selling it for more. But they're supposed to say, here's why, here's the costs, here's the cost overruns. This is why you're paying this amount of money. And if they don't give that to you, then, I'd probably get an attorney involved. What's going on? Gustavo from Sao Paulo. Probably said that wrong. Sorry. Patricia said, March is a gamble. Bring layers for my run in New York. I feel like I have to. I'm probably going to be hat and hoodie and all types of stuff running out there. I don't like running in pants. That's kind of the worst. But I'm also don't want to freeze myself to death. So. Hello from Claremont. Good to see you. What's going on, man? I appreciate it, NYC Iron. Appreciate that. Yeah, I got 135 people. If you guys hit that like button while you're watching, as you're commenting, that helps. But definitely hit the like button if you don't mind. I'd love to get as many people involved. We did one of these a Tuesday night a couple weeks ago. And it's kind of tough for me to do Tuesday nights because it's just family obligations and just, one more night of working kind of later. But we had like 250 people watching live, which is a lot of fun. So I definitely think I would probably do that once a month where I catch people where they can watch at night after work, get after dinner, that kind of thing. So Spencer asks, Mystic Dune is transitioning from a diamond resort to Hilton Grand Vacation next month. Any thoughts that will affect the surrounding property values? Also, they claim a Celebration address. How so? My guess is that their office is in Celebration. They have a massive office space in Celebration. That's probably where they're headquartered, but it's not. If you go online, you're right. If you go to trying to think of if you go to Expedia or something like that and you type in Celebration, Florida, they're so close to Celebration. They try to claim a Celebration address. It's kind of like if you go on 192 and you cross over 192, there's a bunch of places. They call it Celebration Point. They call it Celebration, all these different things. But it's not really Celebration. It's just they're jockeying on the name because you can see Celebration from the front porch. And so I think it's going to be positive though. The Diamond Resort, I've never been a huge fan of Mystic Dunes in general. I know a lot of people stay there. Corporate events put their people there, but I think it needs a refresh. And so hopefully with Hilton Grand Vacation coming in, that's going to happen. And if that happens, then I think the surrounding area does even better. Hey, from Pennsylvania, good to see you. Um, Sorry, going through some of these questions. Yeah. So, do I think that the conflict in Europe will stress the supply chains further? Thinking sanctions, oil, energy definitely trickle down. Yeah, I 100% agree. And if our local government doesn't, start opening up the floodgates on different opportunities and different supply chain sourcing, then you're going to feel it as a homeowner, from the gas pump to buying and selling, especially the new construction side. Let's get in a couple more stories here, if you guys don't mind. Before I usually do this towards the end, but we're already open on the MLS, so why not check this out? Here's a really big one. This is what I was talking about earlier. Market Watch, the new listings. I think this is a big deal. For the longest time, for the past 3 or 4 months, if you looked at this new listing number, this was over the past 7 days in 5 counties. If you looked at those, um, it's been in the 500s for a really long time. And now 750 is still really low because a balanced market would be more like 1,200 homes coming on the market. But that is a really good thing, is to start seeing a little bit more inventory. We're looking at 20% more inventory this past week than we have been. And I think that's great. The sold numbers, the pending numbers are still massively high. You've got a lot of homes hitting the market, going pending the same day. You've got a lot of new construction, new builders listing their spec homes and then marking them pending immediately because they're already sold. So if you look at the number of pendings going on, it's pretty neutral, pretty right on where it should be. So I thought that's kind of interesting. Let me see. I want to get a couple more questions from you guys. Hey, Charles and Mary, my neighbors. Good to see you guys. So here's an interesting question. So Melissa Alonso asks, home prices are extremely important, but can I recommend a suburb that's the safest with a good school system? So it's interesting with the state of Florida, and really it's every state in the country, for real estate agents. Like if I was just a blogger, I could go out and talk about safety and schools and all that kind of stuff. But because it's so subjective, and our licensing laws basically say that I can't steer anybody one way or the other. And steering would be like, hey, you don't want to live here, you should live here because of safety in schools and crime or whatever, right? So I'm not allowed to talk about it, but I can give you resources that you can definitely go and dig into. I think you got to ask yourself, like, what is important? Like, are your kids into sports, and do they need an IB program? And there's some schools that are rated Bs, but they have an amazing IB program. Other ones are A's with really good sports, but no, you know what I mean? So you have to figure out what's important for your kids and balance that off with the safety and location and amenities of the area. So, but if you email me, I'm happy to send you some links on, you can look at local reports from police offices. You can look at sexual, like, predator in the area, like all of these kind of things. I've got links for you that you can do your own research from there. Hopefully that's helpful. Robbie says, do I think that the market will slow down a bit with inflation looming? Unfortunately, I think inflation is driving the market continually up. Everything's getting more expensive. And so I don't per se. And so actually, there's a couple slides I wanted to show you guys here. Give me 1 second. It'll be worth it. And if you are watching the replay or you're watching live, this will probably be some good stuff to screen grab. But no, I think inflation, unfortunately, is driving pricing up. Now we'll see if we have any like actual change on the interest rates. Because of Ukraine, because of Russia, we had a lot of interest rates start slowing down, and that was good. We had a pullback on our interest rates for about a week, so that's a good thing. But we'll see. What do we got here? Let me show you guys what we got. Vision. So this is actually the Keller Williams. We had a really, really good meeting here. Actually, it was in Orlando. It was our national meeting, and they were talking about home sales and like where we're at over the past, just a little bit of time. So this was interesting because you looked at 2004 through 2006, when right before the last recession, we had 28 million home sales. And then just last year, we hit that same number again for the first time in, 14 years, 16 years, something like that. So it's been quite some time since we hit those numbers. Interesting, right? If you start looking at home sales month over month, seasonally adjusted, we're starting to see things pick up, which is good. Home prices. So this is the one that I would screenshot if I were you guys paying attention to kind of what's going on. So home prices annual, right? So what they did is they looked at long-term average of 4%. And they said back since 1990, rather, if we had just a traditional 4% appreciation every single year, where should we be? And the last time we crossed that appreciation line was right before the bubble burst, if you will, right? Then the bubble bursts here, and then we kind of been playing catch up all the way through last year. We crossed that line again. And now this year, hopefully that line kind of stays right there, right? The biggest problem around that is inflation. It's getting to be unaffordable in a lot of places, but it's interesting to watch that line and sit there and say, okay, we're not so much higher than a lot of people think, but we're high. Let me see. What are you guys saying about this? Let me look here. Yeah, inventory is still incredibly low. So let's talk about inventory. So this is that trend line of like, we like to see a balance of 6 months. And if you look over the past, couple years, we're down to 2.3 average. And this is nationwide, right? This is not just Orlando. Inventory in Orlando is actually even worse than this, which is why I think home prices continue to climb. Here's another interesting one. And you guys are sticking around. The numbers of people watching are not dropping. So apparently this is something that you guys care about. So I'm going to keep going for a minute here. If you look here, the historical average from 1972 to 2020, average was 7.8%. My first mortgage in 2003 was over 6%. And I remember signing the docs and people were like, you're getting a great rate. And I was like, oh, great. This is, let's go. So when people say like, oh, things are starting to change, interest rates are going up, it's, touching 4%, that's still historically really, really low. And I think this is just like, trying to make you an informed consumer here, what we're looking at. So mortgage rates right now still hovering. It says this was 2021 at 3%. Now they're hovering like 3.75%. And so we'll kind of see. Here's one that I talked about before, and people were kind of giving me some crap about where did I get the numbers. This is where I got the numbers from. When you look at long-term affordability based on people's average pay, now this is just people's average pay in the country, and you look at principal and interest only. So not taxes and insurance, not HOA, not energy costs, not car, groceries, all that kind of stuff, but just principal and interest on someone's home is on average 16% of their income through 2021. Where the last time in the recession, this is like some of the indicators here, 23, 22%, those numbers were getting a little high. So anyways, if you like numbers, you like analytics, you can scroll back and watch this later. Those are some really good stats to just kind of think about and where we're at in the market. Is this some massive bubble? No, but if you look at some of these numbers, we're peaking a little bit. And so unless something massive changes, it'll be interesting. So anyways, let us look. You love the numbers. Thanks, man. Thank you. Thank you both. I appreciate it. It's a crying shame how many realtors steer this every day. Your objectivity has drawn us to your firm. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm looking at like when the market shifts, I'm going to let you know, because for one, I'll probably be buying even more. But I don't want somebody to go in thinking that they're going to buy a house and flip it a year later and they're going to make a ton of money. I still think that the interest rates are still really low, and that if you're looking at buying something for 5, 7, 10 years, then you buy now. And if you're like, no, I'm on the fence, I might move in the next year or 18 months, you probably should rent. And there you go. Okay. Let's see. I got a bunch of stuff I want to talk to you guys about. So hopefully it's okay. We can shift over to a few more things. Speaking of though, like affordability in Orlando, you look at like rent prices surge more than 60% in some Orlando neighborhoods. And so obviously this is a little clickbaity. When you look at overall Orlando, we did go up 37% last year in terms of rent. I know a lot of people that have been reaching out to our firm saying like, Jesus, like we were paying $1,000 per month and now it's $1,645. That's a massive increase. That's just this one specific person, right? But on average, if you look at the Orlando metro, things have gone up 40% in general. in our area. Kind of wild when you start thinking about that. So if you're looking at like, do we buy versus rent? I mean, that's sort of the trade-off there. And so that's why I say if it's going to be a 3, 5, 7, 10 year thing for you, you buy now. Even if the market does reverse course and pull back, at least you don't have your rent going up. So, anyways, let's talk some outside of real estate stuff because we talked a lot about real estate stuff. I thought this is cool. UFC partners with Amazon to provide free college tuition to full part-time workers with the company. So one of the things I didn't realize that UCF, which is like one of the largest public universities in the country, I think they play back and forth between, I think it's University of Arizona and UCF go back and forth in terms of the largest. But UCF is actually partnered with a bunch of companies, which I think is super cool. Chipotle, Target, Taco Bell, Disney, Aspire, a bunch of Fortune 1000 companies where they're partnering to cover schooling for people, which I think is a really attractive thing if people are moving here. There was a stat that I would heard from UCF. They said something like, of the 60,000 kids that go there to school, only like 20% of them were actually from the area. So many of them are attracted to the area because of the affordability and that kind of thing. But then over half of the people that move here to go to school don't leave. So unknowingly, we're kind of like this big college town, and that's something that Orlando's not really known for. But you've got a lot of people that come here for UCF and then just don't leave. I think that's kind of cool. All right, let's get to some of your questions. Jay says, am I seeing a reversal of people leaving Orlando due to company requiring workers to go to the office? We're not. And so, we listed, so here's one thing, Jay, and this is like anecdotal. This isn't something that is like some huge study that I can like point to, but I look at our own team on the people that are coming. We've got a 23-person team, right? Videographers, marketing people, all that kind of stuff. So, but of the sales team, and I look at all of the listings, the sellers that we help. And every week we ask the question, why are they selling? Because many sellers, they want to sell, but they don't know where to move. That's a lot of times. But if they're forced because of job relocation, local issues, whatever it might be, I see a lot of my second home people that own a second home here, but then live somewhere else. They are starting to sell because they're like, the Disney thing's just getting a little too expensive for us. Going to the parks, it's super busy. It's not as chill as it used to be. So we're going to sell and then just kind of come back whenever we want. And the market's really high, so why not? The other people are getting relocated from jobs, but for the most part, there's nobody that's like moving really because of any massive other issues other than that. It's just kind of like normal life stuff that you come across. And I think we'd have a lot more sellers if they were like, I knew I had somewhere to move to because I don't want to sell, be homeless, that sort of thing. Interesting to me. Nicholas asks, how is the charging station infrastructure in Orlando? So I see a lot more Tesla charging stations popping up, and the ones that are already here are expanding. So I have a lot of clients and friends that have Teslas, and they say it's pretty easy. I would say that a lot of the builders here, though, are including charging plugs in the garages of the majority of their new homes, all the way from like lower end builders to the higher end builders are just including them standard now. So I think that's kind of a cool thing to just be known for here locally. NYC says, when you come to New York for the marathon, make sure you bring plenty of business cards for the mass exodus to Florida. There's still a lot of people moving here from Jersey and New York. Wow, a lot of them. Oh, what's there got here? Dave says, let's see, where did this go? I don't even know how to add this, buddy. I'm sorry. Dave actually just gave a $19 for Orlando Real t-shirt. So thanks for that, man. I appreciate it. We do have, I think it's like 16 of them dropping in the mail. The order should be here on Monday. We had to do a whole new big order because the team wanted some and a bunch of you wanted some. So we have now actually opened a YouTube store for t-shirts. Not that I'm trying to make a bunch of money. I think we make like 50 cents a shirt. We're running them through YouTube's like Teespring, just for a lot of you that are looking for like Orlando t-shirts or Poser Group t-shirts. So that's pretty cool. I appreciate you all. I'm going to take a sip of coffee while I try to go through all these questions real quick. Mm-mm-mm. You know what would be really cool? I really want to do. I got to figure out a way to do this with StreamYard, which is the company that I use here. But I would love to bring some of you guys on live to ask, like, Keurig has a question from London. Boop, and his little face pops up and he asks it. That would be kind of cool. I got to figure that out. All right, but you had a question. There seem to be some pockets in Windermere, Winter Garden, which have an Orlando address. Communities such as Newberry Park, Maple Bridge around Windermere, but are also considered Orlando. Good question or comment. This is correct. So, yes. So you have unincorporated Windermere, which is like Legato. There's a bunch of places up and down Reams Road, which are technically Windermere, but have a Windermere address, but are technically unincorporated Orange County. Windermere is the same. You also have 32836, the zip code, up and down 535. It's an Orlando address, but a lot of people consider that part of Dr. Phillips and the whole area. So yeah, you've got, it's just very interesting. So you look at the schools, I think are an easy way to follow. So like if you've got Windermere High School as what you're zoned for, even though you're in Orlando as an address, it's a little bit confusing on some of those areas. Whereas like if you're in Winter Garden, you have a Windermere, it's very confusing. So you are correct. So if you look online and you're looking at an Orlando address, it could be technically considered Winter Garden. It could be technically considered Dr. Phillips. Yeah, a little confusing. So if you want to reach out and you're like, hey, I want to live in this school district, we can help you with that. Or if you're like, I really only want to live in Windermere proper, we can help you with that. All those kind of things. So for sure. Len says, I was there a couple weeks ago and Geo was awesome, showing us some great neighborhoods. Geo is freaking awesome. I'm just super lucky to have some very good team members. And so Geo's a fantastic one. So Ronaldo asks, have I seen the $2.5 million NV home on Laureate Park Phase 10 participating in the International Builder Show? If not, what did I think about it? I have not seen that specific house, but I have seen a few others that they've built. And I think it's interesting because Laureate Park was really like, although always very nice, never that like luxury neighborhood. If you were going to be in Lake Nona and spend $2 million, you would go to the Lake Nona Golf and Country Club. Probably not Laureate Park. But because of the proximity to town center, companies like Envy are coming in and building these really ridiculously cool houses. I think it's a great thing. Capstone says, when is the construction between Orlando and Lakeland I-4 construction? Well, I'll tell you what, I drove to Tampa this week to teach down there, and there were they had already taken out the middle lanes and they were like building that out between here and Lakeland. I think that's great. I'm more excited about when they start working through Dr. Phillips all the way down to Davenport. Like that's so needed for so many people. But one of the things I did use this week was the I-4 Ultimate. If you use it, be careful. Like you can get on I-4 and Ultimate, which is the toll lane in between I-4, and it's great. Like people were driving like it was the Autobahn. They were driving super fast, but you can't get on and off really easily. So if you get in Dr. Phillips, I think they let you off once at downtown Orlando, and then from there you're all the way up in like Maitland before you can get off again. So just be careful when you're getting on. You might want to test it once or twice before you use it. What's going on, Len? Oh, you mentioned Half Moon Bay, San Francisco. I appreciate it. Ooh, great idea, Alex. We actually have a Lake Mary video planned on our roadmap. So Lake Mary, I think, is something we definitely need to talk about. Hey, Jim O. Good to see you, my friend. All right. So, hey, Ken, what are my thoughts on development of Hills of Mineola? I bought a KB home in Mineola, and I wonder about the long-term benefit. The home is also close to the future Olympus project. So KB home is, I think they're an entry-level home, much like Lennar, DR Horton, those kind of places. But I think that for the price point and the area, like Mineola is going to be, especially once the toll road gets all finished up and the off ramp is there, Mineola is going to pop. You're already starting to see the average price point like really jump into the 400s, which is crazy to me. But yeah, I think, for the price point, it's hard to go wrong. Now, does KB have like an amazing product with an amazing warranty? No, but you probably saved $100,000 over buying with David Weekley. So there's your trade-off. Goodness and gracious. Had a lot of a lot of good questions today. Sorry, trying to grab them all here. Hmm. Here's a good question from Robert. He says, two of my friends are getting their real estate licenses. Does that mean it's the top? So I've got a story for you, Robert, to go along with this, which I think is a bit hilarious. So the Orlando Business Journal did one. It says, gift baskets and dog walks. Orlando realtors go to great lengths to find sellers in a tight market. And then it goes on to talk about how there's a few agents that they interviewed, but oh gosh, there was a really funny quote here. Hold on a second. The quote was something along the lines of that there's like only 1,000 or 1,500 homes for sale, and there's 22,000 realtors in the market. And so, do I think that we're at the top of the market? I don't know. I think we're almost there. I think that we're still going to see an increase this year, and I think by next year we probably flatline or just go back to natural 3 to 4% appreciation, because I think affordability everywhere is getting a little bit out of control. I do think that we're nearing the top. I think over the next 18 months we'll probably see a little bit of a slowdown. That being said, in terms of agencies, there's just so many realtors here. There's 26,000 in our board. 5 years ago, it was 15,000. So God bless your new friends. I hope that they win. I hope that they win. How about that? All right. Can I break down where your buyers are coming from that the percentages increased since 2020? Ooh, that's a really great question, Terp. 305. So, Mr. Miami, what's going on? Hold on. So, I would say, in the clients that I help, the majority of them are coming from the West Coast and the Northeast still. A lot from California, a lot from Seattle, Washington, Portland, that whole area, and then New York, Jersey, a lot from Virginia, and a lot from the Carolinas. It's been interesting to see the Carolinas pick up quite a bit. If they're relocating here for work, then it's literally all over. But if I looked at just trends, because people want to move here to be better weather, taxes, it's still cheaper for them to live here than it is from where they're coming from. All of those things, it's from those areas that I just talked about. Canadians are starting to move here quite a bit. I get a lot of Canadian calls. Toronto is so expensive now that we're getting a lot of people reach out or coming down to Florida. And for a lot of reasons, political reasons, they tell me, financial reasons, they tell me, weather reasons, right? Everybody has their own little blend, their own little cocktail of why. But yeah, that's about it. Robbie asks, will I visit this Disney Star Cruiser Hotel? Yes, we have our tickets. We will be going soon, and I'll definitely document a little bit. It's interesting when you're like a bit in the creator space, trying to make sure that you enjoy the moment, but then you also film and show the audience kind of like what you're seeing. So I'm gonna try to do a little bit of both, and a little bit of creation and a little bit of enjoyment. Really want to see the new Wave Hotel. Is it open for locals to just walk and look up the sculpture garden? Any parking suggestions nearby? Yeah, so I was there yesterday. Actually, I grabbed a quick drink with a friend. You can walk up. The new Haven bar upstairs is open, and so it does like very Miami. It's like LA in the 70s or current Miami vibe up there. Very colorful, very very cool space. Great mixed drinks, great like appetizers, and a good menu of food. Or if you want to do lobby bar, and then they've got the other restaurant as well on the main level. But yeah, you can walk up, even if you just want to take pictures. Like tons of people show up just with their camera. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to be there. They do make you valet, so you have to valet, and it's like $8. Or you could go park over at like Boxy Park and then walk over. It's like a 5-minute walk. It's no big deal, but it's one of the coolest things. And if you've checked out the video that we did on it, we kind of went pretty deep into that. Thank you for the yeah, correct. Thank you for the invitation to appear on your channel. What's going on? It's been a minute, Farmer George. Thought you forgot about me, man. Oh, speaking of Toronto, hello from Toronto. Just wondering if the prices of the 55 and older communities are going up like residential properties in the greater Orlando area. Yes, if you look at like the Horizon West, like Oasis Pulte has this thing called Del Webb Oasis, and the pricing there is skyrocketing. Kehov has another one, which is in Kissimmee, right next to Margaritaville. They're finishing out that neighborhood. The prices there went insane. And so, yeah, there's definitely a niche of people that specifically want 55 and older, and there's plenty of amazing new neighborhoods there. So good to hear about Liz. Liz is fantastic as well. She and I are working on a deal right now this morning, actually. She's awesome, super passionate about what she does. Like I love everybody on my team. I try to attract like passionate people for Orlando and real estate, and Liz is definitely one of those. All right. Goodness. Jay says, just tuning in. Do I think housing would ever get to $300,000 or less in West Orlando, or should I keep renting until that drop in price? Okay. So do I think West Orlando, and I'm guessing that you mean like Windermere, Winter Garden, Celebration would be like all at Southwest. Do I think it's going to drop below $300,000? No, that'd be a huge drop. I mean, average price points for those areas are over $500,000. Do I think it's going to drop 50%? I do not. I just don't see it. What area close to Disney would I recommend for a 30 to 60 day rental? I would check Reunion first. I also like low key like Windsor Hills, just like especially for the updated homes. Some of them are very old, but other ones that are very nice and updated because of the proximity to the parks. You can be to like Animal Kingdom in less than 10 minutes, which is pretty nice. Why Sunbridge house pricing almost the same as Lake Nona? What's special about Sunbridge new community? Well, the Sunbridge new community is it's about 100, like on average. I've priced out townhome middle tier pricing of the houses and then the larger homes so far, and it's about $60,000 to $80,000 cheaper depending on what you're buying in Sunbridge compared to Lake Nona proper. That's just because the difference between Orlando versus St. Cloud. But I think a lot of people are very high on Sunbridge and what's coming there, just like the marina, the town centers, multiple town centers, 25,000 acres with like actual like nature to take care of you. So yeah, I think that people are really, really high on it. And I am as well. TBD on the whole, like building houses out of just wood and how that's going to hold up long term. The builders have did their best to convince me that it's going to be just as good as wood. I'm not there yet, but the county approved it and they think it's just fine. So yeah, Alex says a Lake Mary video would be great. We're going to do it for you, man. Alex, I will even give you a shout out in said Lake Mary video because there's a lot of cool places in Lake Mary, the Heathrow area, Alaqua Lakes, like all of those kind of things up in like North Orlando that people should know about. You've got Deloitte up there. Deloitte's a huge accounting firm, or Deloitte. There's a lot of different like corporate jobs up in Lake Mary, up and around Maitland and that sort of thing that people are doing really well at. Let's get in a couple other things before I answer questions. Here's one I thought was just fun. So a lot of my clients call me and they say, "Hey, we moved to Orlando. One of like the 10 reasons why was because we wanted to be close for cruises." And I have not been a massive cruise person in the past, but when I started looking at some of these, I was sort of shocked. You got Port Canaveral, which is 45 minutes away from downtown Orlando, like 40 minutes if you live in Lake Nona. And look at this. So I did a search before I started the show today. It was like leaving in March from Port Canaveral, just a 2 to 5 night kind of thing. Starting from 171, I'm sure that's an interior, but like a 3-night getaway for $200. One of our assistants on our team is doing one of these. I mean, 5-night for $254 or $259. Heck yeah. So the last minute cruise details, that's kind of cool. Do you guys do this? Like, I don't know if you live anywhere in Florida, but I know going from like Fort Lauderdale or Port Canaveral. This is like a pretty cool thing. You could take a 3-day weekend, jump on a quick ship. You can drive there. There's no airfare. You just drive, get on the ship. Heck yeah, I'm in. Coach Clay says, can I join your real estate team? We're always hiring. So careers@positgroup.com if you are so interested. Joaquin says, do I think that Orlando will grow more than Miami? I don't think so. Miami's huge. They're growing vertically, right? The amount of money being spent and sheltered in Miami is pretty ridiculous. But do I think that Orlando and Tampa will eventually kind of merge over the next 10 to 15 years? Yeah, for sure. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Charlie Kelly asks, any new sales development starting soon? There are. I got a couple of them for you today. There were like 11 that I found, but here were 2 new ones that I thought were interesting for many different reasons. So this one is Cypress Park. This is an $85 million start, which I think is interesting. Site work is underway. Model homes anticipated to start within 30 days. This is actually in Haines City. And I've been talking about Haines City a lot, not because I think it's like currently the absolute best and all, be all end all, because it's kind of hard to get to, but it's right between Orlando and Lakeland and right next to Davenport. And so if you work at the parks or you want to be closer to the parks and you're trying to get like an affordable home, it's hard to do. So Cypress Park subdivision, let's see, I forget who this is. It's a D.R. Horton neighborhood. And from what I can tell, the homes are going to be in that low 300 range. And it's going to be a massive neighborhood, 85, 90 million. Let's see, bid, structural details. Yeah, almost 600 homes. So that one's getting ready to start. This one's a smaller one. The only reason I mention this is because we have a lot of people that email us about it. Like this part of Ocoee is right next to Winter Garden. And so Ocoee's got some really nice areas, some other areas that need to be sort of turned around. But Arden Park, which is a Lennar community, it's gated right off the 429. They are getting ready to do their 6th phase. So that's kind of wild. That neighborhood just keeps growing and growing and growing. But a lot of you are interested, so I wanted to mention it. They're getting ready to open a new phase. I think that'll be important. What else do we got here for today? Goodness gracious. Oh, Flower Festival started. Here we go. 50th anniversary flower bed arrives ahead of 2022 Flower and Garden Festival. You got the 50th out there, which is so cool. We're going to go with this tomorrow, actually. I'm really excited. Have you guys gone yet? Make sure you drop down in the comments below. I don't know what like the food situation's like. I'm always like, I go for the flowers. It's super pretty. When we ran the Princess Half Marathon, we got to see all the flowers kind of like behind the scenes that they were prepping, which is cool. But I'll go for the food. So let me know. Let me know. Oh, another person asking for information about Lake Mary. Well, that's it. That's it. So within 2 to 3 weeks, we will have a Lake Mary video for you. Thank you for answering my questions. Going down to Orlando, check out the area soon. Heck yeah, that's exciting. Here's a good question from Wendy Bird. What's going on, Wendy Bird? So I mentioned that KB Homes, Lennar, and D.R. Horton are entry-level tier. What tier would I say Taylor Morrison would be in, specifically in the Claremont area? So I would say, and I've been trying to figure out the best way to go about this without getting like sued for defamation or something like that. Or I'm just trying to tell like the truth, but I'm sure some builder's rep, some attorney somewhere is going to say, Ken said this, and then I'm going to get a letter. But anyways, if I had to rank them, so D.R. Horton, Lennar, Ryan Homes, KB Homes, they're all entry level. Like their finishes are entry level, their pricing is entry level, and they're needed. Like there's a place for them in the market. So if you're thinking about buying one or you currently live there, totally fine, right? It's just knowing what you're getting into ahead of time. Then you've got the middle band of builders, which I would say is like, depending on the neighborhood, it could be like, Mattamy Homes, Meritage, those ones. And then I would say it's like Taylor Morrison, Pulte, Toll Brothers in regards to just general quality. Ashton Woods is in that top tier as well. And then from there, it gets into the custom builders, which are like the top tier, right? But in terms of just production quality. So I think Taylor Morrison builds a really good house. The majority of the clients that I've worked with that build with Taylor Morrison are very happy. So I would say that they're in that top of the second tier or bottom of the third top tier, if that makes sense. I think they're up there in regards to quality. Now, every builder's a little bit different. Like Toll Brothers in their Apopka neighborhood, they brought their quality a little bit down so that people could actually afford their homes. So it is neighborhood dependent, but I've seen the Taylor Morrison stuff that's coming to Claremont, and I've been impressed. So for what's going on out there, I've got some people building with Taylor Morrison in Claremont right now, and I've been very impressed overall. Chris says, hello from Miami. Coffee. I'm going with Starbucks for a little bit there. You know. Oh, Desi says she's an avid cruiser moving from SoFlo to Lake Nona. Excited about to be close to Port Canaveral. That's awesome to hear. I want to know more. So is there anything that we need to know about cruising last minute? Like, I don't know. I mean, do you like, other than a passport, I think they still require vaccination sort of deal. I'm not 100% sure. You'll have to let me know. Like, do you have to take a rapid test still? I don't know. Like, I feel like everything's changing right now. New York just opened up. I don't know. Florida's been open forever. But let me know down below, Desi. We had over 200 people. We broke 200 people on a Saturday. So what's going on, people that just joined us today? How are you? And where the heck have you been? I'm just kidding. So appreciate you guys being here. Have I heard about builders in Orlando that have been put sales freeze because of supply chain issues? Yeah, man, that's a huge one here. So most builders will only allow their salespeople to sell like 4 to 6 homes per community per month. So a lot of times they'll have their VIP list that they'll go through. And so my team and I have gotten really tight with many, many builders. And so what we try to do is get our clients to the top of the list by doing a few things. One, we'll get you pre-approved with the builder's on-site lender because they really like that. Not that you have to use them at the end of the day, but the fact that you've done that process is a big one. And then there's just a few other things that we'll try to do to get you to the top of the list on the next lot release. Sometimes things fall apart as well. So working with somebody that like stays on top of the spec homes, or if a buyer can't get a mortgage, then that spec home comes back to market, all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, freezes because of the supply chain is a big one. If we had more trades and more supplies, then the pricing would not be going up as fast as it is. And so, gosh, I hope they figure that out. What's going on, Jerry from LA? Good to see you. All right, Farmers Market booth has bison steak everybody's raving about. Oh, menu until April 2nd. Got to go try it before it's gone. Yasmin, I appreciate it. I'm going to go try that tomorrow. That sounds amazing. 27 UFC, we're moving to Florida from Chicago. How's the flooring business? You are needed here. You're needed. If you are in trades, if you're an electrician, a plumber, a flooring guy, a roofing guy, a framing guy, a windows guy, a trim person, you are needed. And so I keep telling all of my Northerners, my Midwesterners with that like Midwest hustle, that if you were to move here, that you could do extremely well. And because people need it. The amount of people, like, here's the thing, my team and I, we try to have like this list of vendors that are like tops, like the best plumber. I have probably the best plumber in Orlando. I'm not going to even say his name publicly because he'll have too much business and then he won't be calling me back anymore. But that's what happens. You have like these amazing tradespeople, and then they get so busy, they stop calling, they start delaying, they push you out 6, 7, 8 months. They start hiring subcontractors themselves who are then not showing up and doing a great job. So yeah, if you're a tradesperson, you can move to Florida and crush. So do that. I would say Pulte's like in the middle top tier. Like if everybody else was here and you've got the middle tier, I'd say Pulte's right in there for sure. I mean, their basic build is a good one. Now, where I'm from in Michigan, where there used to be headquarters, Pulte was kind of more lower tier. You know, that's just where they were regionalized. They didn't build as good of a home. And so that's why new construction and real estate is just so regionalized. Dory says Lake Mary is a great little city, one of the best places to live in Florida. I go there often from Winter Park. I would agree that it is beautiful. Speaking of Winter Park, Dory S, if you're still watching, I put out a video this Tuesday. It's coming up this Tuesday about my 5 little favorite spots in Orlando. One of which is in Winter Park. It's kind of like hidden though. If you don't know where it's at, and I kind of say based on the map, this is where you need to go. But Winter Park is such a just hidden gem. Loved it. Mandalorian fanboy. For one, I am a fanboy as well. I've got a Mandalorian helmet right up there. Anyways, you watched my video on Bella Collina, which is now like a year and a half old. I really need to go update it because the building there's just so much more going on. But anyways, it only had houses well over $1 million. What do I think about Dreamfinders homes in there for 700-800? So the houses that I was showing off were well over $1 million, but they have like smaller lots that are like right on top of each other. But you've got some golf course views and that kind of thing. And those are starting in the 700s. Will you end up there by the time you do like lot premiums, option structural upgrades? Probably not. But you can still get something in there under $1 million for sure. Desi says I still need a PCR test for my cruise. Correct. Pulte is a nationwide builder, just like DR Horton, Centex, and that's what I mentioned. So you got to look at it from a localized level for sure. Bill, honestly, how long does the unbearable heat last? How many months from win to win? I like your style, Bill. Straightforward. So we moved here and it was in July, and it was like trial by fire. I looked at my wife and I was like, what the heck did we do? It is so hot here. It's so humid here. And now the summer comes and goes. And I honestly, there's a few days that still bug me, but for the most part, you're going from air conditioning to air conditioning. Everywhere has a pool. So I think that, June to like late October, like it'll be Halloween and still fairly warm here. It's hot. It's humid. It just is what it is. But like days like today where it's 82 and it's not super humid and it's a little windy, it's just like the most beautiful thing when all of my friends and family up in Michigan and or across the country are under snow. I'll take it. So it took us like 2 years before I was like just not realizing the humidity and craziness anymore. So yeah, that's my honest take on the heat and humidity. Whoa, Ned Cadley, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Good to see you. Xavier, can I give you tips on working with a buyer looking for the price range of 800,000? Treat them right, just like every price point. But I think you just got to look at what's important to them. Area, builder, 800 is a great price point, but not everywhere. Like if you're in a Winter Park, it's not a great price point. You got to be, pushing over $1 million at this point. So yeah, I usually don't give agents advice on my channel, but what I would say is just figure out what motivates your buyer, what's important to them, what's their time frame, make sure that they've got their financing in line, make sure that they're working with a reputable lender that's going to get the deal closed, because right now it's hard enough to get a house, and if you don't close on it, what a bummer that is. But yeah, coming down to motivation and just being really on top of it. All the new listings, you might have to get a little bit more aggressive finding off-market stuff, something that we do a lot of times. So if they narrow down an area that they absolutely love and there's just nothing on the market, then you got to get, a little bit more aggressive. Try to go, door knock, mail, figure out what you can do to find them something. So hopefully that helps. Yeah. So King of Premium, have I been experiencing more mid-tier builders taking longer over a year to build? We are currently approaching a year and still without a permit. This is correct. Unfortunately, there's many builders, custom home builders, entry-level home builders. They are all having really big issues with permitting. And so it's not only just the supply chain issue, it's also like the city of Orlando not hiring people fast enough to go into their permitting departments to turn around the amount of work that we actually have to have. Then they were working through COVID protocols and like all these other kind of things. The city of Orlando, in their infinite wisdom, decided that they wanted to take like townhomes and change the whole sprinkler system layout and like how the requirements are supposed to be now. Is it overkill? Maybe. I mean, like increasing construction standards when the market is going crazy. kind of a crazy time to do it, but if they're increasing standards for the betterment of us all, great. It's creating this whole cycle of issues. And so yeah, a year sometimes is where we're at. And so hopefully they don't retrade you on price. If they haven't pulled permits yet, many builders will then come back and say, hey, it's been a year. Appreciate you hanging on. Thanks for giving us that deposit money that we've been earning interest on. But now we need to raise the price. And so that's just something to hit them with. Make sure that you're like staying on top of them, that you know it's coming. All right, I'm going to go for maybe 3 or 4 minutes over just to kind of answer as many of these questions as I can because I'm still looking back here. Kurt says he recently went to Bosphorus in Winter Park from Jacksonville and you loved it. Bosphorus is a great one. They've got one in Lake Nona, Winter Park, Winter Garden, and they're all just so consistent. So love it. Goodness. You know, I didn't pick up any. Oh, actually, no. We got Darth Vader. We got a bunch of them. There's a lot of new Lego stuff coming out. There was also some new lightsabers that came out. I don't know if you guys saw this over in Hollywood Studios. So Hollywood Studios had 1,000. Shop Disney Online had 1,000, and LA had 1,000. And it was like the Jedi Temple Guard lightsaber, and they only made 3,000 total. They sold out in 24 hours. They were selling them for like $350. And those same ones are now going on eBay for like $900 to $1,400. It's kind of crazy how that stuff works. Hey, Bill. So back to, so you run a very successful high quality carpet, upholstery, tile, and grout cleaning company. I think it would do amazing in Orlando. Yeah, I think it would do fantastic. Yes, this is correct, Essie. It is hot year round. You just get used to it. Dave asks about the Brightline trains. There's new stations opening up. They're laying a ton of rail. Like, I'm actually excited. There seems to be something that's finally sticking because they have been talking about adding transportation for years and years and years and years. And now it's actually finally coming to fruition. So I heard that they ordered a ton of like the Brightline had ordered new trains that were supposed to be getting delivered later this year and early next. So like they're actually moving forward. So for so many years, the talk is finally coming true, which is awesome. All right. I'm going to get one more here. Yeah. So Ethan asks, do I think the Disney folks will take all the incoming inventory in Laureate Park 2? I think so. We have a lot of Disney folks that we are currently working with, and a lot of them are in LP2. So yes, I do think that is happening. Last one from Andre here. Online from New Zealand. What's going on? Hope you're well. Is property maintenance, repairs, and renovation a good business in Orlando? Yeah, for sure. Property maintenance, repairs. Like if you're a handyman, here's a tier. Here's where somebody could crush is if somebody started a really great handyman service. Like you're not a custom home builder. You don't do it all. You do the mid-tier stuff and below. You would crush. Like I could keep you busy. I could keep a crew of people busy. I should probably start that company soon. Because everybody that buys a house, you will move in and inevitably have small repairs. And I would love to be able to keep that person busy as much as possible. All right. So that is our show for today. You guys asked some amazing questions, a lot of new people watching, which is so freaking cool. Do me a favor, hit that like button if you are still watching and have not done so. 192 people watching. We should leave here with 192 likes. That would be amazing. And then share our channel if you don't mind. If you have any friends that are thinking about moving to the area, already live here, we want to be yours and their real estate resource of choice. My team and I would just love to help. So thank you so much for spending some time with me on a Saturday afternoon. We'll see you guys on the next video. Talk to you soon. Bye.